first few years of college, I threw every single day.
Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome back, Ultimate fans. Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023 senior phase of the tournament. We are here with their second of 5 streams of the day. This is our second showcase game. We are doing 5 games straight today because the weather. The air quality here is already diminishing, and it will be unacceptable to play tomorrow on Sunday. So all finals have been moved up to today, and they will be our last 3 games of the day. We are giving you a bonus coverage here of the Open Division semifinal between Vancouver Furious George and Winnipeg's General Strike. My name is Clayton Hallett, and I'm here with Sahab Ansari. Sahab Ansari, you're ready to go for this.
Dude, I'm excited for this one, Clay. I'm personally a big fan of both of these teams. I had the honor of playing against General Strike at CUC's last year. This team is the team that did end up taking it home at the end of it all, right? And Furious George, our hometown boys of British Columbia here, both really, really exciting, fired up teams, right? These are teams that we're going to see have insane athletic moves, right? And on top of that, they're going to be very, very calm and composed, make smart choices. So this should be a really good game, Clay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've seen a lot of Furious play. I've seen a lot of Strike play. There's some big names out there that we are definitely going to get to and talk about. Furious is in white today, and they will be starting on defense. Our horn is about to go in 5 seconds here, and I imagine at that point, Furious and Strike will both be ready to go to get this pull off the ground. There is the horn, and looks like Tim Sang is going to start with the pull for Furious George. This has got the stands packed, as this is kind of a heavyweight matchup in our Open Division.
Yeah, Clay, this is definitely going to be a banger of a game as we get started here. We see a little bit of a zone look from Furious.
Boris will air that out for Crew. Crew bidding makes the grab. Let's start the game with a bang, Stephen Crew. He's looking for a dump. Burden's behind him. He'll flip it to Cam Burden. Burden back to Crew. Furious outside of the end zone, or strike outside of the end zone, pardon me, being very patient. Crew looking for options. He goes around to Snyder. Snyder doesn't like the looks he sees, so he'll find Greenberg. Greenberg. Back to Snyder. Burden working hard. Double coverage. A little bit of blown coverage there by Furious, but it's okay. They've got some containment going. Boris with that big huck to Crew earlier. We'll find Crew again. Crew fakes the scoober. Back to Burden. Finds the around to Snyder. Excuse me, that might be Rich.
Yeah,
So some give-go action from the handlers here. Strike remaining patient. No, it is Snyder that's been working that handler core. Ladyman. Burden with the big backhand around to Snyder. Snyder punches that into Crew. General Strike with the hold to start this game off, showing some great patience in their end zone set. The score, 1-0, General Strike.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about, Clay. These two teams are both really, really exciting teams that can get really quick, real fast, right? We saw some amazing handler movement from Strike. And on top of that, we saw a lot of great defense from Furious, right? We could hear on the field, right? For those of you that didn't quite hear, Furious kind of making sure they're yelling at each other, holding that force, maintaining, as we see Furious's O-line step onto the field. A lot of big names on both of these teams. And yeah, I really like how General Strike just demonstrates, composure on that O point. Really calm, finds a great big grab in the end zone. And then on top of that, they don't elect to go directly into the end zone, right? They stay calm. They use
Very
that negative
patient.
space. They get a big reset back dump around. And they still manage to score, right? It may have took them 20 passes after that big hug, but it didn't matter. It didn't make a difference to Strike. They were happy with it. As we get a big pull coming in here.
First O-line we're going to see from Furious George. They talking to Coach Alex T1000 Davis before the start of this game. I was told that the O-line is going to be the same personnel most of the time. Well, they actually have two D-lines, the Furious and the George D-lines, that they will rotate this game. But expect to see the standard O-line set. Underhill. Looking for Bryson in the middle, but it's not there. Furious showing some chilly offense right now. McGregor flips that back to Lofnick. Lofnick gets it right back. And there's a pick called. Not really surprising when we see a vertical offense. It is pretty common. Sorry, that's Vince Bullock that's been back in the handler core, number 99. Bryson finds Bridgeland Powell. Bridgeland Powell needs a dump. Has Boychuk to Underhill. Lots of small passes here from Furious George. They've sort of transitioned to a win with your legs, grind it out sort of team. The other thing I was talking about with Coach Alex Davis before this game is a lot of leadership on this team inherited a playbook that was built for going up high, for winning big one-on-ones in the air. And Furious has recognized that they're a much faster team, much lower to the ground team that can really move the disc quick now. So we're seeing kind of the small ball offense to take advantage of that. Bullock toes that line to keep it in. He'll go back to Underhill. Underhill showing some great hands after his marginal performance as an announcer in the juniors division. Oh, and that is broken up by number 89, Mark Lloyd, who goes down.
Yeah, a little bit of blindsiding contact there. I'm sure not intended, right? Trying to get the disc and yeah, just a little bit of contact off the play there. Yeah, Mark Lloyd heating that up as he steps off the field. we're going to see somebody new bringing in the spot here. That is number 98, Quinn Schneider, stepping in.
Now, I just want to say, we didn't get a chance to talk about him yet, but he did make that defensive play. That was the Mark Lloyd, a big, big player in Canadian Ultimate. Pound for pound was the best player, I would say, for several years in this country in the open division.
Yeah, and we have
Strike is definitely going to be hoping that he's all right.
Ricky McLeod stepping in for Furious George on that substitution.
Wilson goes to McFadden. Back to Wilson. They'll do some give-go together. Trying to see if they can open up this Furious defense, or this O-line's defense. Auger Samar has a man underneath. He brings that down through some pressure from Bryson. But then Underhill able to read the next play and get the hand block. McLeod to Bryson to Underhill. He'll go back to Bryson. And Bryson's going to flip that to a wide open Devin Bringeland Powell as Furious gets that back. And for the Old, the score 1-1.
Yeah. Devin BP just wide open in that space. He knows he has got the speed. And as you saw on that turn, Furious George just really, really quick to transition. We saw Bryson and McLeod just quick hands off to each other, right? And this is kind of what Furious is going to be about. And we're going to see a lot of this, right? They're going to get those quick turns on the D, and they're going to try to quickly transition it into a break point.
I just want to take a moment just to share with everybody that we are here at the Newton Athletic Park here in Surrey, British Columbia, and this whole week has been so beautiful. We are so thankful to be playing on the traditional territories of the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Quequitlam, Kaikite, and Swashin First Nations. Great ultimate has been had here. We are so thankful to be on this land and doing that, feeling really grateful for it. And we are playing this game on our showcase field, sponsored by B Apparel and Discraft. B Apparel providing a lot of the official wear for the tournament staff, as well as putting out some nice merchandise for teams to go purchase. And Discraft giving us the most important part of this tournament, the game discs. And we thank our sponsors for all they do.
As you talk about B Ultimate's CEO and founder, Rumi Tejpar, on the field now. Definitely happy about that little shout out.
Burden in the middle. He'll go around to Wilson. Cohen. Back to Wilson. Ladyman. Furious with a big flat mark in front. Quite interesting. So Furious is really challenging the unders in the lanes and then really trying to stop the Hucks, but Ladyman does not care as he'll open that up to Cam Burden. Cam Burden elevating. Gets over top of Brisette. But there is a travel call on the Huck. The crowd hates it. And I just want to point out while I have time, Jeffrey Boris has been working so hard in the handler core. I've been calling you by the wrong name. My apologies, Boris. But Jeffrey Boris, a big pivotal handler for Strike right now.
Yeah, the fans not happy about that one. And as you can see, it's quite packed here. This is a really big game.
Now, Ladyman can totally go to the observer and ask if that was a travel, because then Burden would get it back. But the observers have to watch quite a lot. They might not have seen the toe drag, and they are able to say, I was not looking at that. The only thing you can do is kind of contest it, and that will change well, you can't really contest it. So you just have to live with it. Frustrating for throwers. I myself do not enjoy getting travels called against me after I put something up and my teammate makes a huge athletic play to get it. But nevertheless, Strike will keep the disc. And Boris will again work with Cohen. Cohen finds Crew. Crew with that big catch in Strike's first possession. Murray goes back to Boris. To Cohen. Ladyman. To Cam Burden. Boris. Crew hearing a fire call from Furious. That is their match defense call. So any slough things they were doing, stopping the unders, are now off. It's just play honest one-on-one D. Ladyman looking for options. None really there. He's going to have to get rid of it. Boris, dependable. Gets it at the high stall count. Burden locked on that sideline. We'll flip that out to Boris and strike with another hold, working real hard out there. Played some great possession ultimate to win that point. Looking unfazed by a high-pressure Furious George defense. The score, 2-1.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez not really able to keep up there. Great little upline cut from the General Strike player to end up punching it into the end zone. And Furious's D-line, right? Really pushing Strike, but Strike seeming unfazed as of right now. They have been moving the disc effectively here. Furious putting on a little bit of this zony look, right? A little bit of a slough, trying to slow down Strike. And Strike electing to go for the short passes, right? We did see maybe one or two hucks thus far. That one did end up coming back, but yeah, Strike showing that they don't need it. That they are happy to hit the easy unders. They're happy to hit the rounds and move the disc within the handlers.
So seeing about the same personnel go on for this Furious O-line, except two players that haven't seen the field yet. That's DV and Pet Nuzo. Pet Nuzo, all his talent, a product of UVic Ultimate. You're welcome, Vancouver.
Yeah, Pet Nuzo, definitely a big piece for the University of Victoria, right? And
well, I mean, he was.
Well, yeah.
Boychuk is going to field this pull. He'll flip that to Bullock. Bullock, conscious of the fact that Strike was getting out down there very quickly. Vertical offensive set from Furious here. Underhill to Boychuk. Finds Lofink working very hard to get that under. Goes a high release around to Underhill. Underhill wanted that around back. Stays with it and gets it to Bullock. Boychuk's coming underneath, but it's not there. He'll streak across the field for a give-go from Underhill. No real options right now downfield for Furious, so they'll just reset it. Bryson up the line. He'll air that out for Underhill. And Underhill's going to call a foul after Nick McFadden made that D. Underhill known to be a huge player in Canadian Ultimate, Athlete of the Year.
Yeah.
So if anyone's going to get a D on him and then Underhill calls a foul, you bet the crowd is cheering for the underdog right now. So we hear those boos come out. It's hard. I think that is possible. It did look like as McFadden swatted the disc away there that he actually might have come through Underhill's arms. Underhill arguing that, yeah, I did kind of have it in my hands and you hit the whole unit of everything I had to knock it away. But, you know, he's Athlete of the Year. Everyone's going to cheer for the underdog.
Yeah, and yeah, Athlete of the Year for sure, and for a reason, right? We see him not only controlling the offensive handlers, but also able to make those strike deeps and get himself really up there. Underhill using his height, using his size to kind of box out players and put him in uncomfortable situations where it's not easy to get the disc. In this case here, Underhill.
Underhill cut his teeth in the Vancouver Ultimate League, joining his older brother Blair Underhill's team.
Yeah,
I was on that team. And when Underhill was 15, we kind of wondered if he'd ever get anywhere in Ultimate. Lots of drops and throws. And now I just feel dumb.
You mentioned Blair Underhill, a key player for disc golf now.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. Big disc golf player. A little ultimate tidbit, and it seems like Kevin Underhill now has the disc in his hands, and we are going to wait for the observer's hand signs. Seems like Underhill is going to hold it on to the line there as we wait to have it tapped in.
Yeah, so Underhill on the doorstep. Offensive line, he, as a handler, he's very, very, very used to being in this position. Doesn't have the options he sees off the bat. Instead, just perfect placement for Lofink as he came streaming across the line.
Yeah, punches it right into Lofink there.
The score, 2-2. Only hold so far. We have yet to see a break. High-level open ultimate when you've got two teams that are evenly matched, breaks are so hard to come by, as the possession skill of these teams is usually very, very high. But we have seen some turnovers so far, but teams able to get it back. We're also seeing some really familiar offensive staff going out for strike. So both these teams showing that their offensive set is probably going to be the same players, as they really want to make sure that they have the most confident players with the disc out there on O-line. You cannot afford a break in these games. We do see, I guess this would be the George D-line, as Furious is running a Furious D-line and a George D-line, and some personnel we haven't seen out there, but some well-known personnel for Furious George out there. Many of them known for big defensive plays. The Kitman's wheels, McLeod's athleticism, Sang's intelligence, Vasilyev's hands. I mean, I could go on, but I'm going to run out of talent things to say here. But looking like a strong D-line from Furious, but this strike O-line has just been chill.
Yeah, an impressive O-line. This is an O-line that you're going to rewatch this sort of stream and learn from, right? This is the type of O-line that you want to teach your kids about, right?
Greenberg goes around to Cohen. Cohen is going to float it over the top. McLeod there to break that up, along with number 12, Ricky Tran. The Kitman flips out to Vasilyev. He gets it back from him. They play give-go. Vasilyev. Up to Graham. McLeod brings that in. Did mention his athleticism. Floats that out for Graham. They get some give-go action, but Ladyman was expecting it and jumped that gap. Outstretching hand. Getting it back for his O-line. Greenberg will pick up.
Yeah, Ladyman, great heads-up play. Knew exactly what was going to happen there.
Burden looks off Crew. We'll find Ladyman. Big cut by Murray there to get some big yards for strike. He's looking at Crew. Crew tries some fakes. Able to point where he wants it. Murray with the good placement. Crew will lift that out to Ladyman, but Graham calls a pick immediately. If you see those muscly bicep flexes, that is the signal for a pick call. Graham, we appreciate your hand signals, so we know what's going on here in the booth.
Yeah. And a little bit of pick call. Graham opting to not have to chase down here, right? Making the smart choice of slowing down after the pick has happened. Ladyman, for those of you that don't know, you actually do have to catch the pick. So if a pick is called, you still have to catch it in the air.
Crew finds a dump. Now the disc starts moving. Ladyman's has it now. He goes around to Burden. Burden to Cohen. Cohen been the anchor in this Handler offense. Always in the middle, always there for a dump. Murray's able to float that out to Snyder. Snyder to Crew. Crew on the line. Brennan trying to put a lot of pressure on that mark. Snyder bids to keep that alive for strike. Ladyman off the front. Boxes Graham out. Graham goes around to Greenberg. Greenberg sneaks it through to Burden. Not in. Quickly taps his feet and flips that to Cohen. Good heads up by Burden there, recognizing he wasn't in, and instead of looking around, just taps the disc and flips it quickly to Cohen for the goal.
Clay, I don't know how you do this. You're calling that play-by-play, and I'm literally sitting next to you, holding my breath here, as this General Strike O-line so quick and so smart with these throws. Like, they are able to find the gaps. They're able to push through on this aggressive Furious George defensive line, right? We see a lot of these Furious George players who are defensive demons, but General Strike absolutely unfazed. They know what they want. I've been saying it. I feel like a broken record now, but yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed at General Strike's offensive looks. This is the tape that you want to rewatch.
The score: General Strike 3, Furious George 2. Producer Sarah Eady reminding me to keep you all updated. Thank you, Sarah. But yeah, 3-2. no breaks in this game yet. So we are on serve, as they say. A gust appears. We'll try not to harp on the wind too much. I've had some comments on my commentating that, damn, do I love talking about wind.
Yeah.
But it has been quite gusty here. It's coming and going, but we'll let you know if it gets crazy.
Personally, I like to blame every single time I make a bad throw on the wind. It's just part of the sport.
Bryson fields that pull, flips it to Underhill. Bullock. Underhill working tough in the middle to get it. Is a little bit of a dominator from the sideline where it's just the handlers. Lowfink, though, gets it up the field. He'll look to Underhill. Underhill catches his check at flat feet, able to go up the line. Vince Bullock fakes that big around. Those teams are afraid of that one. Bullock and Underhill try to do a give-go. Strike poaches, but Bridgeland Powell recognizes it, and it bounces off of his hands. And there's a foul call on the throw, I believe. Wilson can't seem to believe it. So he seems to point to the observer, but he'll walk over to Underhill, and they'll talk about it. Wilson seems to disagree.
And as we hear on the sideline, we have General Strike coaches here calling for Wilson to go to the observer here. Quinn Wilson opting to go to the observers now.
Yeah, Observer Byrne and Saint-Jacques getting involved here. We do have 4 observers on the field here. We do have the staff available for that right now, but only these 2 needed.
Yeah, and these kind of games, right, they're chippy, they're tough. So a no foul is called.
Underhill asking the observer why. I mean, it's always hard when you make a call. You think you're so sure of it, right? And I mean, Underhill with a big belief in what happened, but no foul on the throw, and that did bounce off the hands of Bridgeland Powell. So therefore, it will be a strike possession. We're just trying to work out where everybody should be and how the disc should get tapped in. I think what Bridgeland Powell is saying is that he'll tap it in, and he does with his toes. So Wilson will get set up in the handler set with, I believe, McFadden. So vertical offense from Strike. Gutkin gets it to Wilson. Wilson's going to air that out. Fargus Amar, lots of Furious players in the area. Good defense by Furious George, Bryson, and Lowfink.
Yeah.
Boxing out Malik Agarsamar. And Underhill will take his time, letting his offense get into a set. We see a vertical stack here from Furious. I'm seeing a lot of looking around by Furious George to make sure that they've got the spacing in who's going to cut. Boychuk with the disc. Has Lowfink. They opt to just get the disc reset. Seeing this style from Furious George where it doesn't matter so much where the cut is, just reset the count, retain possession. But then as I say that, we see a hammer go over the top. Only Furious in the area. So Boychuk is able to get that as Bryson leaves it for him. And Bullock is left alone in the end zone. I think
in the end zone there.
It seemed to me that Strike all converged on the hammer and realized too late that none of them were going to be able to get it, and then turned around as Furious kind of spread out and said, we're going to get that. Let's go get in scoring positions.
Yeah, a little bit of a defensive miscommunication there from General Strike, and Furious taking absolute advantage of that. So General Strike's D-line having a little bit of difficulty finding that break. It is not easy. Furious George's O-line surprisingly playing some really, really good defense, maintaining their possession here. As we see General Strike's O-line back on the field here with a lot of familiar faces once again.
The score 3-3. You know, it's a funny attitude thing with Furious, as just thanks to my locale, I've come to know quite a few of them. And, you know, it's very interesting. There's no panic on the O-line when they turn that over. It's more of like, oh, shoot, now I have to go play defense and get this back. I've got double duty. But certainly the composure is there. They're not feeling shaky or anything like that. It's more just like, oh, man, now I have to do this. And they most of the time get it done. Furious's O-line here at the Canadian Ultimate Championships. They do such a good job of getting the disc back if they do cause a turnover. I mean, those are still extra strong players on that offensive line in their defensive skill as well. This pull by Hibbert will go OB. Hibbert, I had a chance to speak to a little bit earlier, and I just said, how do you still play open? And he says he's got a little mileage on him, but he's still feeling good, and he's still loving it. But every time I see him now, I razz him a little bit of it. But Hibbert's still a major threat against any other team.
When I was still a junior, I played against Hibbert in a league game, and he actually smacked me in the face with a big backhand. And I asked him about it. He couldn't remember. Anyways, as we carry on with the game.
Greenberg will stop play as there's a pick called downfield.
Yeah. We see a lot of familiar faces here for General Strike's O-line. We got Greenberg, Ladyman on the field once again.
Getting the disc. Burden looks off Ladyman. There's another call. Got Tim saying in front of the booth here, probably one of the most vocal players for Furious George on the sideline. He does a great job of telling his players on the field what's going on, but also keeping his sideline really engaged. Burden's going to go over the top. The Ladyman crew takes off. Hibbert's with them. Ladyman thinks about it. Perhaps seeing Hibbert down there, that is a really tight matchup, so he likes to play a little bit of a safer option. Crew ends up getting it underneath past a bidding Hibbert. Greenberg swings that around to Boris. Little give go with Greenberg and Boris now. Greenberg 5 yards outside of the end zone. We'll go back to board around. Crew. Boris to Greenberg. Ladyman comes off the front of the stack for a break throw. Burden tries to make a move, and he does. Furious forcing to the middle of the field. Cam Burden able to sneak it through. Cam Burden, such a strong thrower, able to find a receiver just towing the line. Saab, unfortunately, I didn't see who received that. But again, we see some really clinical offensive patience from Strike in the red zone.
Yeah, I want to highlight new player to Furious George's team, Mauricio Martinez-Lung, who did have a couple bidding efforts there to try to get the D, right? Putting in the effort as a brand new player to this seasoned Furious George roster, right? These are a lot of players who are still at the top of their game and showing it. As we see General Strike with a great O-line once again. Again, broken record. I'm just going to keep saying it over and over again. I'm thoroughly impressed. And this is the O-line that you want. Calm, collected, getting these clean holds, right? Not really giving Furious the chance to get those breaks that they want, right? We've seen this Furious team able to convert quick breaks off these turns. But yeah, like I said, General Strike not even giving them that option. And if General Strike keeps doing what they're doing, they're going to be quite happy with the results of this tournament.
Yeah, we'll see which team opens this up first. The score, 4 for Strike, 3 for Furious.
And a pull ending up in the stands now. Unfortunately, no one catches it, so we hear a little bit of a
boo. Someone should have had that. Come on, crowd.
From the crowd.
Underhill's going to center that. Just below half.
A little bit of wind picks up
Has
here.
Pet Nuzzo right across past a bidding defender. Pet Nuzzo back to Underhill. Gets moving immediately. Underhill around the Bullock. Pet Nuzzo's going to leave the room. It open for Underhill. Bullock through some contact. Scoops his check. He'll flip that to Boychuk. Boychuk out to Pet Nuzzo. Just out of the reach of his hand. There was in some traffic there. Pet Nuzzo, I think, was reaching so that he could kind of get past the other defender, but that really put him out of position to make that that catch on that tight throw, that is.
Yeah, that was Sam Peterson staying in, poaching the lane after the clear was made from the Furious player to kind of add the extra defense there.
Lloyd's back out on the field now with the disc, and he'll let it rip. We got a 2-on-2 situation. Furious players falling down, and over the top is Noah Hoffman signaling on his head after Bryson makes the call. So we're seeing a little emotion here, everyone.
Seeing some head taps.
That's I live for this a little bit. there is some, let's say, some spirited disagreement on this call from the teams. You hear the crowd reacting to that one. I mean, incredibly athletic from Noah Hoffman. And Bryson believing he was pushed, but there was a lot of jostling there. I felt that was pretty ticky-tacky. Sahab, you and I have talked about that. Once that jostling starts, it's really hard to make the call after the fact. Observer ruling no foul.
Ruling no foul. And as we continue to see, a card might come out for that. A little bit of excessive cheering. No card called. But a lot of excessive cheering there from the General Strike player. And I love that. I live for that. It is exciting. It's hilarious.
I don't know how to feel right now, to be honest. That caught me off guard.
A little bit of a dance. Yeah. Let's see if Furious's O-line is able to get it back here, or if, as I say that, Strike
gets the first
break of the game.
Duquette with the goal. Hoffman feeling it. Hoffman showing that he doesn't really seem to mind of the feelings anymore. And a little coach. The coaches sort of swarm him after that, trying to keep the spirit in check. I mean, I'll just give a quick score update. That brings Strike to 5 and Furious to 3. That's a break. So Strike with a 2-point lead now. Okay. So I've thought about this. By the rule, spirit of the game, totally unspirited.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Do we love drama? Yes.
Love it.
Do we want to encourage that? No. Are you and I going to get a little bit of a grin on our face when we see it and then have to address the ramifications after? Yes.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So, I mean, both teams showing they want this, the energy. I mean, all in all, Strike is the underdog. So when Noah Hoffman makes a play like that, you can't help but understand how big that is for the morale and the emotions of Strike. So I'm not surprised to see a big celebration like that. But in that sense, going right after the player you just skied is pretty excessive. So his team is, I can see on the sideline, just giving him a quick, hey man, let's take a walk, calm down a little bit. We might want you to celebrate your huge play in a different way. Because it is somewhat excessive to just go right after the player you just got over the top.
So
but they look like
they're
addressing it. An offside call.
Yeah, offside called here. So
Underhill's asking, that will be at the brick. Offside is only against defense now. For those of you that don't know, if the offense moves before the pole goes up and causes infraction, that's now called a false start. So any offside is now always against the defense. Bryson looking for an undercut by Lofink. Lofink takes off, but it's a little too late for Bryson to put that up. Boychuk finds McGregor. Underhill faking the up the line cut, but gets it back towards the middle. Is asking for some cuts from the vertical. Doesn't see it. Or he does see it. Finds Boychuk. That comes down. Bullock. Bullock's going to just float that to Lofink, and Lofink able to easily bring that in. The score, Strike 5, Furious 4.
Yeah, Lofink bringing that one down, and Furious happy to have that hold, but, it's not difficult. When you start on D, right, and you start with your opposing team getting a nice hold on O-line, right? It feels like you're always behind. Even though the score is even for majority of the game, it always feels like you're behind. And now Strike taking over with the break definitely makes Furious feel even more behind than they have been feeling throughout the entire game. So, as we see, Strike bringing back their O-line, a lot of familiar faces that we see down there. Definitely, we see Quinn Schneider once again on that line, a very vital piece to Strike's O-line. We also have Ladyman once again on the field. Yeah, unfortunately, don't see Hoffman on the field for O-line. So maybe Hoffman taking a little bit of a break to cool off.
Well, that was a defensive point. Don't forget. That was a break. Yeah,
that was a deep point.
Yeah. The Strike coach is here to let us know that we got it wrong, but we fixed it up quick.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. So on 0 point here for strike. Offside on Tim Sang's pull. So if that is not fielded, they'll get to bring that up to the brick. It did go out of bounds anyway. So NBD, no big deal for Furious George. Burden will pick up and brings it to the brick, centered. Nikitman on the mark.
Tickman with a very big mark, flashy hands all over the place.
Cohen finds Murray under. Murray sees Ladyman. You see Ricky Tran there was coming around to get the mark, knocked it out of his hands. Immediately knew that was his bad, called the foul on himself, gives Murray a high five. Murray goes around to Cohen. Cohen looking for options, has Burden. Burden with that quick acceleration. So dependable. Been a handler for a very, very long time. Oh, and a neat move there by number 11, Boris, but it was close. Ladyman with the disc now. Go back to Cohen. Boris takes off, calling for someone to come back. Burden is going to put up a hammer for Boris. Boris gets a great read on it right underneath it. What a throw by Burden to get that in the perfect place. Crew and Boris do a give-go. Crew takes off. And Boris is able to flip that to Snyder. That hammer was perfect. The score, 5-5. Or sorry, 6-4. Pardon me. 6 for strike, 4 for Furious.
Yeah, TC player Jeffrey Boris there, able to take over. You saw the wheels there, right? The closing speed on that disc. The disc was definitely fading out from his position, and he didn't start with position either there. The Furious defender was a little bit ahead of him, and he ended up taking the space, right? He came back. He used his legs. Definitely felt like that nobody was ready for that, right?
Sahab, I love that point. It's such a good read by Boris. Such a good read by Boris. Now this is an offensive line again by Furious. I have been told that sometimes they put the Furious or Georgia D lines on when the O line needs a rest, but you're only down one break, and that was a hold for strike. So Furious electing to stick with their regular O line. They're down 2 right now. Furious, famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, for the comeback. They always come back. The coach of General Strike immediately glaring at me, telling me to shut my mouth and hearing me talk about the comeback. So you never know, but sorry everybody, that's funny. I get called out for saying that too early. Bullock with the disc now.
Yeah.
Bryson. Petnuzzo gets down to make that catch. Petnuzzo looking for Bryson, doesn't like it, running out of time, but there is a pick called down the field. Now, the count will be pretty high because the thrower the thrower has to acknowledge it. Both Petnuzzo and Bryson and Bullock seem to keep playing. So as soon as Petnuzzo acknowledged the pick, I believe this is going to be coming in at 6.
Yeah, and that one's hard, Clay, because it did seem like Bryson did make a little bit of way away from his check, and he might have gotten on the reset. So this does become a little bit difficult for Petnuzzo. Coming in at 4.
Petnuzzo, no stranger to adversity. Great player. Has been on the comeback end himself. Flips that up to Bryson. Bryson elevates. Out to DV. Oh, and that is a close shot for Wilson, but Bullock keeps it. Wilson goes down. Bullock immediately checking on him. Just some incidental contact there. Might have stepped on his foot. But no animosity, just making sure everybody's all right. Wilson did call a foul there, not as a, hey, man, why'd you do that? But more of just, you just stepped on my foot and I fell down, and it's an accidental foul. They high five. Bryson's going to keep the disc. And Stahl coming in on 1. Bullock Gets the dump, goes around to Underhill. Underhill tries to look for that sneaky backhand, but it's not quite there. Bryson doing some hard work, was open. Underhill sees Bryson again. Oh, by going over the top. A huge defensive play by Jacob Duquette. Now Wilson in his end zone. Auger Samar.
Actually, 71 Ojar Samar who did that defensive play
and,
there.
Yeah, now he calls a timeout. So, yeah, that was Ojar Samar. What a defensive play going up early. Before Bryson had a chance to jump, he was already over top of him. And no foul calls there. I think everybody realized how early Ojar Samar went up to make that play. That was huge.
Yeah, and Malik Ojar Samar, a big pickup here for General Strike. We know the name. He's a household name in Ultimate Canada, right? He's been around this community for quite some time, and he's been working hard just for this General Strike D-line.
So timeouts are short, 30 seconds before the offense needs to get set. I certainly know as a player myself, timeouts are shorter than you think. You take timeouts at league or in games without observers, they can last 2 to 3 minutes. They are supposed to be very, very short. So our observers here keeping time. But after the offense is set, after they get into position and they have to freeze in 10 seconds, Furious will get 20 seconds to set up. So Jorsamar has the disc just shy of the goal line. We've seen 2 Callahans on this field today.
Yeah.
I'll make sure the strike coaches don't hear me talking. But, we've seen 2 Callahans on this field today.
I don't want to jinx anything. Let's not have any caster curse.
It could be a blessing for Furious. Hey.
Could be.
Wilson.
Maybe a little bit of bias from us as we carry on with this game here.
Duquette goes back around to Wilson. Over to Gutkin. Wilson. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of players having a little conference in the middle of the field there. Underhill, Boychuk, Duquette, and McFadden seem to all get tangled up together there. Called a pick. They're just saying, hey, guys, just take it where it is. We figured it out. Wilson looking for options, trying to direct some traffic. Sneaks that to Ojar Samar. Wilson goes back to Ojar Samar. Looking for options. A stifling defense by this O-line from Furious. We've seen them play great D. Gutkin. Over to Wilson, but now this defensive line for Strike getting their rhythm. Have moved it outside of their end zone. McFadden gets it back after a give go with Ojar Samar. Has Duquette open. Boychuk kind of poaching in the middle. Ooh, Duquette thought about it. Instead gives it to Wilson, and he swings it around. Bryson laying out early to get it back after getting defended earlier. Bullock. He'll find Boychuk. Bullock working with Boychuk. Fakes his man up the line. Gets a big gain on that one. Bullock will take up off the line. Underhill's back around for a free reset for Boychuk. He takes it. Goes back to Boychuk. Boychuk takes off. Ball like that, pass a little high. And another defensive play. Good heads up by Ojar Samar. Flips it to Wilson. Now Strike once again in this position. They didn't really get it past their brick mark last time as this O-line has been stifling. So Wilson lifts that out. Ojar Samar, Bryson in the area. Instead, Lahotsky brings it down. Gets that to Ojar Samar. Another break for General Strike. They are now up 7-4 on Vancouver's Furious George. You love to see games like this, especially when the underdog has the lead.
Yeah, and I'd love to see a little bit of a change from Furious George's defensive look, right? They're kind of getting roasted in this deep space. These hucks are coming in from General Strike, and Furious just doesn't have an answer to it yet. I'd love to see what they end up bringing out here coming out of this timeout.
Now, I'm just waiting. It does look like it's a timeout.
Yeah.
By Furious George. I mean, that is a sensical timeout. You're down 3. Your O-line's been having trouble connecting. General Strike showing just relentless tenacity here and confidence in their play. I mean, they are playing so well, and they've made just some massive plays. And Furious, like at these tournaments in Canadian Ultimate, teams like Furious usually do not face a ton of pressure in pool play. And until they make it into the end of the bracket, not much is going on. And sometimes they don't face any pressure in their semis, right? But I did talk to Furious, and they were not counting Strike out. They know Strike is a good team. They know what they're capable of. But, it's always interesting, or I should say, we don't get a lot of opportunity at the Canadian Ultimate Championships to watch Furious be put under pressure.
Yeah.
But we also watch them come back a lot. So
hopefully the strike coach doesn't hear you say that one.
No, he was far away this time.
Yeah, so like you said, Furious not used to being under pressure, but this is a team that, they're really mature. And it's a team that works for their O-line, works for their D-line, right? If their D-line isn't working, they push hard to make sure that their O-line is doing their job. And yeah, we're seeing that here. We're, as Furious, getting ready for this another O. We do have our main O-line here for Furious George coming in. A lot of the same people we see. Kevin Underhill, once again. Boychuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brisette and McGregor are out there. They've had a few points. Lowfink is out there. We've got DV. So, yeah, a little bit of personnel change. All right. Wilson's pull is a good one. IO backhand. That is going to sit inbounds and lingers for quite a long time. So, Strike able to set up their defense on this vertical offense from Furious George. Immediate up the line cut. It's not there. Brisette working for the reset with Underhill. Good jab steps to lose his man. Underhill goes up the line. Bridgeland Powell comes back for the reset. Bridgeland Powell has a free reset to DV after DV worked hard in the vertical there to get open. No, that pass is going to float. And a strip called. That was Lloyd who made the play, and Lloyd agrees immediately. So Bridgeland Powell is going to keep it. That's a big man matchup between Lloyd and Bridgeland Powell there. I like that. Bridgeland Powell to Boychuk.
Nice little grab.
Boychuk, Underhill, Bridgeland Powell. Furious moving the disc quick. Lowfink. It's going to get it to Boychuk. Boychuk always seemingly always available underneath as a reset. Over to Lowfink. Bridgeland Powell. You see the small ball offense in front of the stack. McGregor keeps that in. Good presence of mind with that line. Pleasette. Kind of static. Really looking for Boychuk to the reset. Boychuk, that drop, jab, cut. Love that one. Wish I could do it. McGregor will immediately get that to Brisette. Back to McGregor. Now just at the doorstep. And there, I would believe, Sahab, that is the clinical small ball offense Furious was looking for after that timeout. The score, 7 for Strike, 5 for Furious.
Yeah, and Furious really starting to speed things up on that point there, right? With their small ball, quick give and goes, never letting up at all at any point on their cuts, right? They're practically open on these cuts, and it's not because Strike's not doing a good job on defense. Fierce is just doing an amazing job on offense.
And this is their playbook. Furious had, like I was saying earlier, totally rebuilt their playbook as they started to understand who their personnel was and thinking, are we going to keep forcing this big air force of a game, or are we going to keep it low to the ground, tight, and just win with our legs and work with a lot of, burst. And that's what they did on that point. Instead of getting frustrated and airing out, it sure paid off. Strike has taken a timeout. Half will be taken at 8, regardless of the result. Or regardless of the cap right now, half will be at 8.
Yeah. It's a good idea to take this halftime, right? You do have only 2 half times per half. Timeouts per half. So, yeah. General Strike opting to use one of those timeouts, so it's not getting wasted. And it's just to kind of recollect yourselves, make sure that everyone's still on the same page, still got the same energy, right? It can be kind of hard having Furious get a clean hold on you. But yeah, they're just trying to remind each other, like, hey, our D line has scored 2 breaks already on this team. So we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it over and over and over again until Furious is upset.
Yeah, and then when we need it, our O-line can come back on as they do right now and just get the job done. They've had a little bit of a rest. And I mean, as we've seen them out there, they've actually been playing exactly like when Furious's O-line is playing well, it's the same. They're chill. They're not taking risky shots. If they are sending a throw like a hammer or anything like that, it is crisp, perfect. If you got it, you got it. And we're seeing a lot of same personnel out there for this O-line. Furious has yet to break strike in this game. So, Furious is really going to have to rely on one of their respective D-lines here, the Furious or the George line, to get it done.
Yeah, there it is. That is Morgan Hibbert tossing that one up.
Cohen will field that and flip it to Greenberg. Greenberg over to Burden. Murray slashes across. A little disorganized from strike here, but Cohen comes back for the dump. There was a pick call. Robbie Brennan and Stephen Crew working it out, and they do. The crowd has arrived. Cohen. Ooh, running out of time. Doesn't like that look. Crew is there to back him up. And Crew puts that out in front of Lademan, but it's going to hang. Big man Hibbert in the back. Lademan going up early and getting that over Hibbert, but Hibbert came down on top of him. Hibbert respecting the athletic play by Lademan there, recognizing that he did fall on top of him. Hibbert is a big guy, and to land on him like that to get landed on by Hibbert can be a little bit painful.
Yeah.
It looks like observer Magnus is just checking on things. Ladyman, boxing out one of the tallest and biggest defenders in Ultimate.
And Ladyman had a lot of steps off of Hibbert there, and great cut there to find that space. So carry on with the game.
Snyder. We'll get it to Burden. Fakes to Snyder, doesn't like it. 8. Stalls, but Cam Burden is able to get that out, and it moves back to Snyder from a pass from Ladyman. Ladyman asking Cohen to get out. Someone's going to have to come back. It is Stephen Crew who does. Crew looking to Snyder. He'll throw an IO flick to Ladyman that's perfect right into his hands, and it moves back to Burden. Burden sneaking it around, and it hits the ground for strike just in front of Greenberg. Greenberg a little winded after that layout, so I believe he's going to take an injury sub here.
Greenberg stepping off here, and we're going to get leading handler from Furious, Kevin Underhill, on the field. And
actually, no, that was Brissette that came on.
No.
Yeah, so Greenberg went off.
Yeah.
And it's number 67, McFadden coming on. But then Vasilev took a sub, and I believe it's actually not Underhill who came on, but that's 86. Jacob Brissette.
I just saw the 80.
Hey, fair enough. We're used to it.
Yeah.
Tim Sang with the disc on the sideline for Furious. Sam Butt goes back to Sang. Over to Brissette. Brissette has a free around to Brennan. He'll go back to Brissette. Peterson, no. But we'll flip that to Hibbert over to Brissette. But across the field, outrunning Crew. But now on that forced side of the field. Nikitman can't get it, but Sang does. I believe Nikitman called a foul. And upon calling that foul, there is a stoppage. So Sang, despite all the effort, I think by the rules does not get to keep it. No, he does not. So that should go back to the thrower. Oh, it was a foul, no contest against Nick Hitman. The rules escape me on this one, Sahab.
Not quite sure what's going to end up happening here.
And it does go back to Butt.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I felt like this should have happened as that foul was a stoppage before Butt had thrown it. Sam Butt calling an audible. Crew taps it in. The Kidman working hard. Burden not allowing that up line, but Blizette is there. Butt takes off. Sang. Sang finds the IO at a high stall count. Brennan flips it to Hibbert. Hibbert sees McLeod. And McLeod with the goal. Furious with their first break of the game after Strike turns it over on the doorstep of Furious's end zone. They work it all the way back. The score now, General Strike 7, Furious George 6.
And, Clay, I have a question for you. I remember somebody telling me at some point that Morgan Hibbert broke his arm or something and decided to switch over to playing lefty as we saw that lefty backhand come through for McLeod.
Yeah, so what he did by doing that, so Hibbert did at one point have some troubles with his dominant hand. I'm not sure if he broke it. I think
it was
he
a
did.
wrist injury.
Yeah, and then he learned to throw with his left hand really, really well. And by doing so, ruined it for the rest of us that broke our hands. After I broke my dominant hand, everyone's like, just do what Morgan Hibbert did. Learn to throw your left. I gave up after 5 days.
It's not easy for sure. And I definitely commend Morgan Hibbert. I mean, this is a player that has so much effort or so much work, right? Well-standing, long-standing player. As we just kind of got a little bit of a score announcement, we have Phoenix in the lead on the other side of the semifinals here.
That's against Goat? That is
Goat.
so interesting. So right now, I'd really like to know the score of that game, but that's okay. But
yeah, it's 8-7. This is the score.
8-7, so it's a 1-point game. So
Phoenix.
You've got both Goat and Furious down 1 point right now against Phoenix and Strike, respectively. Fascinating story near halftime here. Hibbert's pull with the big grunt. And an offside by the defense. Since Strike let it hit the ground, they can bring it up to the brick, even though the pull was in bounds. And because it's the second one, the punishments increase. Strike gets to bring this to half now. So that offside, not ideal for Furious George.
Yeah.
Especially when it's in the hands of Burden here. I mean, that is your fastest, burstiest handler.
Yeah, Furious George coaching staff not happy about that one for sure.
Burden gets that around a Ladyman. It's too far for Ladyman, but Crew backs him up. And Crew is going to arrow out the IO flick for Burden. It's got a funny edge on it. And it's just off the hands of Burden. The Kitman was there to put the pressure on. The hometown crowd cheering for that as Furious George has a chance to tie up the game.
Yeah, great defensive effort by Elevate Ultimate co-founder Ari Niddickman. Playing a great D there as he picks up the disc.
Hibbert does a little dance in front of Ladyman and gets it. McLeod. Blizette. But asking for Blizette to get open. Morris with a good defensive effort on that one. Cohen seems to be calling a push-off against Butt right now, so we'll see how this is resolved. Well, discussion. Reenactments are good. Understand where everybody was moving, despite what the hecklers may tell you.
Personally, I love those little reenactments. You kind of get all these players like, hey, you did this, and then I did this, and this is kind of what happened.
Observer Byrne did signal that to the other observers that it is a foul that is being discussed right now.
Okay.
So I think Cohen, with the disc this close and the stall count high, they are going to go to the observer. Observer ruling, no foul. See that baseball safe signal indicating that there is no foul. So the disc will stay with Brissette instead of going back to Butt at a high stall count. Butt goes around to Brissette. It's far. Brissette turns on the afterburners, gets it. Brennan has McLeod and Hibbert, both big deep threats working hard in the deep. Likes to go to another one. Swings it around to Brissett, and it makes its way to Vasilev. His pass to McLeod,
Cloud wide
uncontested.
open on the under there.
Yeah. Brissett looking for options, has McLeod back. Furious doing a great job of cycling a dump into that spot, no matter their position. That pass too far.
And a little bit of contact there. Nidekman goes down. I did hear a little bit of boot touching there between the two players. Nidekman opting to call a foul here as we have a little conversation and observer coming right onto the disc.
Nidekman and Burden discussing this. Two very articulate gentlemen that play the game, actually. So, I've been in discussions with either of these players on the field, and I always feel like I've been hoodwinked into my belief of what happened because they're both very good at discussing it.
Yeah, we saw the hand signs, foul uncontested here, so Nidekman will be holding onto the disc here.
He's looking for Brissett, but a lot of pressure is put on that to break it up. Vasilev's hands are made of iron, and he brings that in. And Brissett, making the athletic jump.
Great effort by Brissett.
Just over his shoulder, a tough one to make.
Yeah.
Seen Oshir Samar, big plays this game. Snyder takes off. But so Boris will come back for backup. He has Crew on the break side wide open, but he's not looking over there. Snyder trying to shake Hibbert. Instead goes to Crew. Boris has a free reset to Burden. Burden has Oshir Samar going deep. Instead, Ladyman's there, but making a play on that, but it's not quite there. Ladyman thinks about unloading. Morgan Hibbert did fall down, so Snyder has a chance. He's too far away. Snyder now has Crew, and patience pays off. General Strike takes half, 8-6 over Furious George. Such an exciting half. The underdogs coming up with the lead of 2. I am loving this, Sahab.
Yeah, we have a score of 8-6 now for General Strike, and this is a great game, Clay. Both teams showing off a lot of high energy plays.
Yeah, we're actually going to go into our break fairly quick now because Sahab and I have to last for 3 more games after this one. So I'm just telling him, let's make it short. We're going to take a break. Half is 8 minutes. We'll be back with you in about 6. Stay tuned for this exciting semifinal matchup at the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023 edition. See you soon. Oh, welcome back, fans. Second half action here between Vancouver's Furious George and Winnipeg's General Strike in our one of our open semifinals here at the tournament. Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023, experiencing some hazy weather now. We did have to reschedule a bunch of games today, and this is a bonus coverage game due to the fact that we have forest fire smoke being blown in that is affecting our air quality. It's moderately affecting it at this point. It will be a severe problem tomorrow. So we've actually rescheduled all of our finals for today. Our first final of the day will follow this game beginning at 2:30. It will be Red Flag from Vancouver and the Fraser Valley versus Union from Toronto. In this game, General Strike is leading Furious George 8-6.
And a nice pull there from General Strike, taking all the way to the opposing end zone.
Fielded by Boychuk and flipped up to Underhill. And they run a play immediately to McGregor. Travel called, but self-check. Lloyd on the mark. Underhill goes up the line. That's a floaty pass. Bullock getting up and elevating to catch it. Wilson couldn't quite slow himself down, so Bullock calls a foul. Wilson immediately agrees it will come in on one.
That was a great grab by Bullock there.
Yeah, reaching behind him to make that grab. Awkward. He'll dump that to McGregor after some good defensive coverage in the lane by Strike. And off the hands for the second time, Bridgeland Powell. He's had a little bit unlucky as the gusts have caught him today. He's just about to make the catch with both hands. And then last second, the disc popping out of where his mitts are at. Wilson is going to go up the line. And a massively athletic catch by McFadden, the Strike sideline, losing it. And Strike goes up another break. The score now 9-6 for General Strike over Furious George. That was a huge catch.
Clay, that is not only a huge catch, but a huge break. That is a big momentum swing coming in for Strike.
You know who told me one of the most important things in the game is the point after half? Captain Furious George, number 89, Kevin Underhill. And, his line just getting scored on, he knows how demoralizing or how vital it can be to bounce back after losing that point.
Yeah, and we did see Kevin Underhill elevating for that layout D attempt, not able to get his hand on it, but definitely putting in some really, really good effort there. Yeah, this Furious George O-line now, or sorry, same O-line coming out here once again. Definitely going to try to see if they can get something done here.
So this is a semifinal. It's an exciting one. For those of you wondering, I got a little bit of an update. These might be out of date now, but at our halftime, we were able to find out that Sixers was leading Iris 8-6 in one of the women's semis. And on the other side of the bracket, Traffic was leading Fusion 8-5. This pull from Wilson is going to sail far, likely out of bounds. And it does. Bullock will go run over to pick it up. He has 20 seconds to bring that to the center brick mark on the field. 10 seconds. Wilson will be on the mark. Vertical offensive set by Furious, doing a good job as a unit to move together so there's no picks. Underhill comes from the middle of the stack. Scoop cuts. Looks for Boychuk. Doesn't like it. Goes back to Bullock. Bullock looking for the break to Bryson. It's not there, but Lofink, dependable, coming out of the stack. McGregor. He'll find Bullock. Back to McGregor. Pick called. Furious. Common system here we're seeing from them that if they're swinging the disc without too much of with somewhat of a loss, to do a give, go, slash immediate across the field. So McGregor, after hitting Bullock, just took off right away. A really common offensive strategy, I should say just the offensive set from Furious today in their vertical stack, and then looking for that reset from the front, and there's Underhill to get it. Kevin Underhill will take off. And using his speed, he's there. Lofink to Boychuk. Boychuk goes around to Bullock. Bullock, big backhand fake, making Wilson fall a little bit there, but instead, open side pass to Bryson. Bryson is going to air that out as Lofink caught his man looking the other way and is able to receive that in the back of the end zone. The score now, General Strike 9, Furious George 7.
Yeah, Furious George, there it is. That's the calm, collected look that they have, right? And when Furious George is moving, they're moving, right? They are back and forth, quick hands off, and like you said, that slash cut across the field, very, very staple move for Furious George to keep the disc in motion. A lot of back and forth between them. And now, as we bring the D back on here, I'd like to see if Furious George has now had a conversation at halftime about an answer for General Strike's big hugs that have been really putting a wrench in their plans.
Most definitely. Coaches Matthew Berzan and Alex Davis are just expert strategists, right? They're so good at looking what's happening on the field, telling their players what the adjustments are. But more than that, they are such a presence as coaches. They really know how to tell their players where they need to be at mentally, how much they need to dig, and set their expectations so high. Davis liking to remind them of the jersey they are wearing, the most winningest team in open division. Furious has only lost one game ever at the Canadian Ultimate Championships, and that was in 2015 versus GOAT. That pole goes out of bounds. Burden didn't know that, but he taps it on the ground. Jackie Howe on the sideline asking, he tapped it. Doesn't he have to take it? They're going to give it to him.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It did seem like he did tap it in. And I guess the rule is that you do have to submit a pivot foot to cement yourself in that position.
Greenberg, back to Burden. Burden looking for options. Oh, there's a call down the field. I felt like Burden was abandoned there and everybody stopped, but that was due to a call. Autumn Toki finding out the call for us. She's the observer. She says stalling for. Burden going to Greenberg right away, takes off for a quick pass.
Quick little switcheroo there.
The old switcheroo. Burden.
A nice
looking for
read
Schneider.
On the play by Nicholas Sanchez.
Nielsen goes around to Brissett. Tejpar. Tejpar is going to find Sanchez. Oh, no, he doesn't. It was a good scoop cut, but he elects not to go to it instead. Finding Lavoie. Back to Sanchez. Lavoie. Hibbert out of the front. Lavoie didn't see it. Running out of time, so he'll dump it to Brissett. Sanchez gets that little cheeky pass. And number 13, Dan LaFrance, able to run that down. Furious gets a break. Now our score is within 1. General Strike 9, Furious George 8. Strike not seeming phased. They've had the lead the whole game. Their O-line has been crisp, but that is a break by Furious. They haven't had very many this game. For their sake, that has to change.
Yeah, and I hate to give a cast a curse, and I hate to be the one to say it, but Furious George is a team that does make these comebacks.
The table's made out of wood if you got a knock on it.
Definitely. But yeah, Furious George, they're starting to find their rhythm on the D-line, right? That was some really great movement. Their D-line moving as if they were the O-line, making sure that they were able to hit those cuts, quick movement. And that all started with Nick Sanchez, right? Nick Sanchez, nice heads-up play, saw the throw coming way before it even came out of the General Strike's hands, and able to block it, right? Give a nice little pat down. And then after that block, commanding the offense there, leading through, giving that huck deep to cement that break score for Furious George.
So this pull is going to be fielded by Burden. Excuse me. This time does take it near the sideline. Greenberg. Burden looking for options. Had Ezra Mar under, but he didn't like it. Burton's just going to pitch that out. McLeod in the area makes the athletic play. Furious now. Sang picks up, flips it.
Yeah, and who else but Ricky McLeod to play in that deep space?
Hickman gets it to Butt. Butt to Vasilev. To Sang. And there's a foul call on that throw from Cohen against Vasilev. So looks like the disc is going to stay with Sang as they work it out. Sang asked what he wants. Calls an audible strike. Can tap it in right now. Not giving that opportunity. Snyder does. McLeod takes off deep. Sang fakes it. Vasilev. Open for the dump. And while Sang did fake that deep, he does go across. McLeod just toes the line, keeping that in. There's a push. Roger Samar immediately signals foul, no contest. Not an intentional push, just guys playing hard. Bears in, noticing that McLeod was signaling to his head, so he takes him off. Even though he wouldn't have had to sub because it was an injury called after a contact with a defensive player. But
yeah,
smart move by Coach Bears in there to see a player that's saying, I kind of got hit in my head, to take him off immediately. Spencer Lofink will come on.
Yeah, that's a great transition. I mean, Lofink's been dominating in that O space, especially in the deep sides. So having Lofink is going to be a big plus for Furious.
Sang with the disc. Tickman working hard. Wilson on the mark. Sang loses his man with a quick jab step. Looks off the around the butt. Stays with him. Instead, we'll go back to Tickman. Wilson trying to get in the way, and it seemed to distract Furious as that pass is thrown into the ground.
So a little bit of miscommunication from the Furious O-line, or sorry, D-line, back to
letting
General
this
Strike's O.
Yeah, and letting this O-line back in it. As Snyder looks for a reset. Arjun Samar keeps it in. And then Snyder to Cohen for the hold for strike. The score, 10-7.
Yeah, and that's a painful one for Furious. They had possession of that one for a really, really long time on the D, attempting to get the break, but can't push anything through, right? They really didn't seem to get past the brick mark.
So Phoenix and Goat right now are in the other side of the bracket. Getting a little pressure on my phone from some Ontario crowds to give them the update on that. It's 10-10 just a second ago. We did get that check. So Phoenix and Goat locked in a tight one. While here we've got, and I said 7, excuse me, but is General Strike 10, Furious George 8. Pardon me. Like we've covered, I'm a terrible scorekeeper. Producer Edie was actually asking me if I wanted to keep score on the laptop, and I said no, and I'm glad I did that. I am not good at this, but we have volunteers for this. We've got observers for this. We should thank all of our staff that have been working and all of our volunteers that are here to help us with these things, because if I try to do it, I just mess it up. So we thank all those of you working and volunteering this weekend, being here. It has been such a fun, energetic week with all these games. The close games, not so close games. It's just been some really fun ultimate, a lot of energy coming out from all these teams. Wilson's going to pull for General Strike. That pull is going over the grandstands. It literally went behind the grandstands. So
I think Phoenix and Goat might get a little taste of that pull.
Yeah, I kind of want to see someone on a strike call delay a game right now. I just want to dare them. But it looks like they won't worry about it. They're going to figure out where that went out of bounds. It looks...
It's at the brick mark.
It is, yeah.
At Strike's brick mark.
So Underhill getting a replacement disc. The observer is inspecting it. And they'll bring it to the marking, giving both teams a chance to decide if they want to play with it. Never seen that before, to be honest.
Yeah,
Underhill's going to pick up.
And
There's-
that is the horn
For the
but
soft
not our
cap.
horn.
Yeah, we'll get to what that means after this point. Underhill looks off Boychuk. Bullock goes up the line. Boychuk comes back, gets the reset. Boychuk, big pump fake. Round to Bullock. Back to Boychuk. These three handlers have been working so hard. And it looks like number 9 there, Liam Gutkin, made a call against Underhill. Underhill saying, you were running into me. Gutkin saying, no, you were running into me.
Oh, me.
Yeah, so they'll have a discussion about that. I mean, it's tough because they're not really looking at each other when that happens, right? It's just both of them felt like they had a line and then contacted soon. Gutkin didn't go down. He took the brunt of that. Underhill, known for his, muscle and stature.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that. I don't know if that's a thing. His
You
brother,
know,
though.
There's definitely a player on the red flag sideline that is excited to see Underhill on the line.
Oh, yeah.
As we see Underhill going to continue with the disc in his hands.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if they went to the observer there, but it is stall 1 for Underhill. Underhill says, I'm going to tap the disc. And what will happen? Gutkin gets right on the mark. Underhill dumps it to Boychuk. They do a give-go, which has been very common. Underhill with the easy break around to Bullock. Bullock has McGregor. McGregor's not quite there. He looks him off. And there's a pick call.
I think foul call. There was a
I'm sorry.
X above the head, which does signify a foul.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Thanks for clarifying that. Won't matter, really.
Yeah.
It's going to stay with Underhill here on stall 1. Foul, no contest, stall 1. All right.
Underhill might
Furious.
have liked to hit this inside shot here.
Yeah. I mean, he's got McGregor there, but
Decides
no,
to sit
doesn't
down.
like it.
Yeah.
And
And
pick called.
Pick call.
And it felt like the inside shot to Bullock was open on that one. But another pick call. Look at this. Look how the defenders are positioned for strike here. They seem to be doing a bracket or a clam here, kind of forming a horseshoe around them. Bryson looks off. Bullock now commits to him. Boychuk just turns on the Jets outside of the front of the stack, but it goes off of his hands. Wilson picks up, looking like he wanted to jack that, but instead doesn't. He's looking for a reset. He's running out of time. He'll just put that up. Off the hands of Ogier Samar. It will roll out the side. So Furious has that in a less than favorable position now. Longtime member of the family, Patrick Church, will go field that that disc for us. And hand it over to Underhill. Good contribution, Patrick Church. Underhill finding Lofing, wants it right back, but good thing he didn't, as Underhill's feet were actually out of bounds. McGregor. Underhill. Lofing's taking off. Petnuzo comes back underneath to make room for him. Now Bullock's wide open deep, but no, Wilson's there to catch him. Underhill looking for options. Boychuk once again off the front of the stack, always dependable on that reset. Goes to Lofink. 2 players from Furious going deep, so Lofink looks off the huck. Hangs for Boychuk, but he's all alone. Has time to field it. Bullock now. Will hit Bryson.
Great grab by Bryson there.
Yeah, hitting the turf, keeping that alive. Resets to Boychuk. No surprise. Bryson goes across the field even after the jab step. Bullock jumping at the last second to make sure he can get his feet in. Spikes it. He's fired up. Okay, so now we get to talk about something I always love to talk about. The horn went during that point, signifying our soft cap. The high score in this game right now is 10. That means this game is to 11. So you have to score to win. Furious must score twice. And Strike must score once. Strike only has to score once and they win. Furious will have to score once and then again in succession. You don't have to win by 2 or anything like that. It's just first team to 11.
Yeah, and they're going to have to both be breaks for Furious right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Is there any General Strike coaches around? This is what Furious is known for.
This is what they do.
This is what they do. So yes, this is a big moment for Furious George. They have been in this position over and over and over again. Furious did take a timeout.
Yeah.
Give your players a plan to go with. I'm a little shaky now because
I'm definitely a little shaky. It's starting to get chilly
here.
for sure. The sun is starting to hide behind some of these clouds being formed, and yeah, I'm a little nervous too. This game could go anyone's way.
On the other side of the bracket, it's 11-11, which probably also means that Goat and Phoenix are also on Universe. I'm not sure if that's totally correct, but I just got the update, so I think they are. So Universe point game over there. Strike game point here. Cohen looking for options, has Murray. Burden making himself available for the reset, gets a quick flip for Murray. Burden looking for options. Snyder comes underneath and fakes deep. Snyder's going to Burden puts it up for Snyder. McLeod in the area. McLeod making the play. Crew with the save. Now just outside of the end zone is Strike for the win. General Strike beats Furious George in the semifinal. The upset, the second loss ever at Canadian Nationals for Furious George.
Upset of the century, ladies and gentlemen. General Strike out of Manitoba, taking the win away from Furious George on home turf. And that was one hell of a game.
An amazing performance by General Strike. In 2012, they lost to Furious in the final after a drop in the end zone, and Furious held and broke to come back. Strike finally, 11 years later, getting their revenge, dealing Furious their second loss ever in the Canadian Series. Sahab, I'm going to have to go for a walk after this. This is some history right here.
We're going to try to figure out what the score is between Goat and Phoenix on the other end right now.
Goat did win.
Goat ended up taking that home. So we're going to see a Goat versus General Strike rematch here today. So Goat and General Strike did end up playing earlier together during their crossover game. Goat did take that, so General Strike is going to be hungry for revenge here.
So we are going to take a break here because, like I've said, we need to preserve ourselves as we're moving on to 3 more games today. Our final, mixed, open, and then women's. The next game will be Greater Vancouver, let's say, Greater Vancouver's Red Flag, and Toronto's Union. We'll be back with you in a half hour. Come back for some more exciting Ultimate, everyone. Clayton Allen, Sahab Ansari, we'll see you soon.